Welcome to Message Monday. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday. What's up? What's up? What's up? Grace and peace, beautiful people. How y'all doing out there today? I hope everybody's wonderful, feeling beautiful, and all that good stuff. We gonna push through tonight. I'm having a day. It's still a day that the Lord has made.
Yes, sir.
Actually, when I got home, man. So, but hey, we'll get into all that stuff. How you doing, brother?
Forget me. I can hear it in your voice, bro. I hear it in your voice. You can unpack tonight, my brother.
Yes. Welcome to Message Monday, Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk, where the sisters are always welcome. So we pray peace for the night as we share, as we talk about our relationship with the Lord, as we talk about St. John chapter 17, the high priestly prayer, and just what it means to us and what it means for our lives, knowing how Jesus prayed for us many, many moons ago. But we thank you for this evening, Lord. We have learned in all states, you've told us to be content in whatever state we find ourselves, as written through your Apostle Paul, Lord. So I pray you give us strength to make it through this night. Bless those who have been hospitalized.
Yes.
My sister Bernie, who was in UFC. My sister Pat, who was at Rush, excuse me. My cousin Fred, who's a supporter of our show, who was in the hospital, and I talked to him today. Thank you for healing whatever's going on in his body, Lord, and getting him home.
Yeah.
Already back to working on the grind, Lord. So I thank you for his life as well, and bless us this evening in Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, bro. So, man, had a photo gig Saturday night, and
how'd it go?
Photo gig went fine. Driving back home, I got my waves on. I get a lot of alerts of cars being pulled over, and I recall myself saying, "Man, Lord, I thank you. I don't have to deal with this." And bruh, 20 minutes later,
what?
20 minutes later, my car stops off 99th and Halsted, right in the middle of the street, 12:15 a.m. Shut down. So I knew I needed an oil change, but I had like 400, 500 miles left. So I was like, yeah, no biggie, So
sound like an alternator or something like that.
Nah, bro, I think it's the oil. So I checked my oil. So I end up being out there almost 2 hours, and I'm frustrated because I laid hands on the engine, bro. I'm like, Lord,
yes,
Lord, like nothing
sir.
working. So called my insurance company. They got roadside assistance. So I hit the roadside assistance on the app, and they were like, yeah, we'll send somebody there will be there in 205 minutes. I'm like, 205 minutes, bro. That's like 4 hours, almost 4 hours, bro. So anyway, man, I had a sister making calls for me. Nobody woke up, bro. I called my brother-in-laws. I called my bros.
How come you ain't called me,
bro? Just what Journey asked me today. I said, I'm not calling Brother Gary to come wave from the burbs to drive into the city when I'm 2 miles from the house.
You out of order for that. I'm gonna club you. You out of order for that.
Right. Alec Colley didn't have his car. It was just a whole, it was crazy, man. It was crazy, bro. So anyway, so I'm directing traffic, first of all, for like 2 hours and a half, right? I'm just telling cars, and people do not watch what they doing.
No.
I had hazards on, and I'm standing there waving cars either to the left or to the right, and nobody's paying attention at all.
I feel you.
And it's driving me absolutely bonkers, bro.
More bonkers than I am right now that you didn't call me?
Oh, yeah, it was driving me bonkers, bro. For real. So, anyway, so I see a tow truck. And so, tow truck drives by. And,
it wasn't yours?
Well, I knew it wasn't mine because I didn't get the call.
Okay.
I'm watching the app, a call. Everything is automated. You just talking to automation. You don't even talk to people no more, bro. It's crazy.
Wow.
So, anyway, man, what a brother's like, hey, man, what's up? I'm like, it's not moving. I don't know what's up. I said, I know I was due an oil change. I said, but I had like 400, I think I had like 450, 60 miles left on it. And so I checked my oil today. Nothing.
So no oil was in it?
No oil.
What did it do? What did it do when it stopped? Did you hear like a knocking noise?
Nothing, bro. It was nothing. No knocking, no nothing. At all. Like it just car just shut down. Couldn't even put it in neutral, bro. Could not put it in neutral. Nothing. Battery's working. Battery's fine.
So it's not electrical.
So one brother tried to give me a jump. Nothing. Nope. I said, bro, I'm good. Like I said, no, I don't want nobody to push it because these cars made of plastic. So you end up smashing this whole back end. And I was like, I'm cool. Like I already got roadside assistance on the way. If I gotta wait, I gotta wait.
Sounds like a fuel pump, bro.
So she called. She got me on the phone with a tow company. They was like $247.72. I'm like, to take me 2 miles? No, bro. If I gotta pull up and wait, I'll go to sleep inside my car before I pay that kind of money. That ain't happening. So, anyway, so brother pulls up. He like, brother Prisco, what's up? It's like, my man Raphael Mathis, what's up? So when he hit me, when he pulled up, I got a call from the tow company.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, I tried to give you a jump anyway. I said, let's try it. I said, I don't think it's gonna work. I said, it was when the old school brothers pull over, bruh, and try it don't turn. I'm like, don't nobody else need to try to help.
Sound like a fuel pump, man.
I don't know what it is, bro. But I looked up this model of Santa Fe, 2016 Santa Fe. Everybody been complaining about the exact same problem. Oil light does not come on when you need oil, and it just shuts the car down. So this is two things Hyundai has done. First, you had the auto theft stuff that they didn't pull in, that they didn't put in, and now you got folks complaining about this model of the car that when your oil is running low, the oil light doesn't come on, which is super problematic.
Absolutely.
And so I'm seeing the same, like your car gonna shut down. There's nothing you can do about it. So I added some oil to it today. I just put like 3 quarts in just to see what it would do, reset the battery and all that. Nothing, so
really? Wow.
But, yeah, bro, like nothing. So anyway, man, I was irritated because I'm like, Lord, this is a small thing. This is really a small thing. But again, like my next car, it's gonna be a Lexus truck, dog. I'm already I'm not playing around. I'm not, bruh. Because it's like you end up paying more money buying cheaper cars. Right? It's gonna be a Lexus truck, bro. It's in the atmosphere. It's gonna be a Lexus truck. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Hey, guess what I learned about Lexus?
Go ahead.
You know what Lexus stands for?
Yes.
What it stand for?
Luxury something. I just learned this 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, but luxury something.
Luxury export to the United States.
Export to United States.
But I just learned that because people didn't want to buy Toyotas. It's a Toyota.
There you go.
That's genius marketing, bro.
It's all marketing, bro. I just learned that 2 weeks ago, bro.
Yeah, I just learned that too.
That's it.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy. So you're right. Maybe my next truck will be a Toyota that I'm gonna call my.
No, I ain't trying to change your mind, bro.
But in essence, the Lord still showed up through the saints. Matter of fact, another saint pulled up right after that when my boy was taking me. So, the Lord always showed up, and I don't know if it was a lesson in humility for me, because sometimes we don't know. I'm like, man, I'm glad I ain't got to deal with no pulled over car. And I remember, I'm glad I ain't have to deal with no home burglary. And as soon as I said that, crib got broken into the next week. I'm thanking the Lord for not having, and I had worship music on too, so I'm just chilling, I got worship music on my way home. I got Tasha Cobb playing, so I'm in the zone. I'm like, cool. We got service tomorrow. I'm getting myself in the zone because I had a long day, bro. I was on my feet over 5.5 hours, man. So that's what's kind of irking me. When you got a kid in school, you take the time you pouring money out doing stuff like this. But also, I also learned, like, I keep my phone on 24/7 for people. I've left my house at 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to go help people. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like
you wouldn't call me knowing I'm willing.
If you told me you would spend a night at your parents' house, I would have blew you up in 2.5 seconds.
Go on, man. Go on with that. Go on with that.
My man Mike said I couldn't afford a car, so I named my daughter Alexis.
That's good.
Man. Hey, good evening, Sister Demetrius. Yeah, that's good. I love it, man. But you know, let me tell you what I experienced while I'm directing track. When I say America showed up for me, I mean America showed up for me.
How so?
Dude, like some G's pulled up. They was smoking weed. They was like, hey, bro, you need a jump. We got you, dog. I was like, nah, man, they already tried. I got road assistance on the way. All right, man, you take care of yourself. Be safe out here, brother. You know that. You know, I'm like, y'all didn't ask me that I want to hit. I'm just playing, y'all. Just playing, y'all. I don't hit no marijuana, even though it's legal. Everything that's lawful is not expedient, okay? Scripture covers that. So then, you know, some white guys, and I told my wife, I'm like, first of all, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning by now.
Some white guys over there
in a pickup truck, bro.
It's sketchy over there, bro.
They was like, hey, brother, you need some help? We can push you over to the side or give you a jump. I was like, no, I'm good, man, Rose. They was like, all right, well, be careful, man.
99th and Halston is around that hour, bro.
A sister pulls up next to me. She like, yo, my man is in the front car. He said, you know, go up there and see him. We got something going on with your car. He's like, yo, let's get you. I said, bro, it won't go in neutral. I said, it's dead. I got roadside assistance on the way. I appreciate y'all help. He's like, no, bro, if you need some help, we'll pull over in the gas station. I said, bro, I appreciate it. I'm good. Then 2 more white guys come by. They was like, hey, man, you good? I was like, yeah, roadside assistance is on its way, guys. I'm straight. Just got to wait this out. They was like, all right, man, you know, you sure you don't need nothing? Because we'll get out, help you do whatever. I said, no, I'm good, man. I appreciate it. Then some Latino brothers roll up, dude. They was like, hey, what's up, Holmes? You okay? I said, yeah, just you waiting on roadside assistance, man. They was like, well, look, you out here, you're going to have to open up your shirt or something because you got a black shirt on and people not going to be able to see you. So you need something to protect yourself. So I had a black shirt on, but I opened up my shirt and had my white tank top on, bro. And it was literally just Mike.
There's hope for humanity. Gave you a little hope.
I mean, dude, this is what I felt. And you know, of course, we know I can't talk politics. I don't know these people. All I know is that some of everybody that represents America showed up that night, except the Asian dude who wouldn't even look at me. He just kept driving over to the side. Whatever. You know, I get it. It's 99th and Halston,
Can
bro.
you blame him? Can you blame him?
I ain't mad at all, dude. But it was just like, I think everything that America represents showed up for me in terms of people actually looking to help. And it actually made me think, how many people have I seen on the side of the road that I didn't stop to help? That I didn't stop to see if they needed anything? Because, you know, we got this campaign of fear that's been going on forever. You stop, pull somebody over, then you get jacked. Man, these people had absolutely, they were concerned citizens. And they were white, they were black, they were male, they were female, they were brown, and they wanted to know that a brother was okay.
You know what that is then, Tone? America didn't show up. I was just going to say humanity showed up. And I believe that the Lord was showing you, listen, I see you. I work through people. I'm going to send some people your way.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was him, just send it. He allowed it, though. No matter what, he allowed those people to cross your path.
Yeah. You know, my wife was like, well, why didn't you call me? I'm like, why would I call you? So you can come up there and just stay with me? Yeah. Oh, okay. Well.
So you catching it from every side, man. I'm upset with you, man.
I got my mans and I got my wife, but still, man, like humanity showed up.
Yeah.
And I was grateful for it and I was appreciative of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what really resonated with me through the experience. But I'm pissed at Hyundai, bro, because they have put out bad models of cars. And I'm gonna put them on blast on Twitter too.
Yes, sir.
Now, I know I'm going to have some people who was like, well, you should have been able to afford a different car. Whatever, your mama. Leave me alone. I'm in a mood.
you can't get on people based on what they can and cannot afford. That's out of order.
But I think in essence, bro, good evening, Sister Nicole. I think in essence, like that's what I felt on that night. And something else happened, man. My buddy was in town, my good friend, Dr. N. Williamson, brilliant mind. He came in town. He was at his church, his home church, a Lutheran church in the South Shore area.
Mm-hmm.
And his family, they had a community event for the church,
Yeah.
And people were just coming from all over. So, migrant families were coming.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, I didn't even know migrant families were living in South Shore this deep at all. Some call them illegal immigrants, whatever floats your boat. I try to use the politically correct language on my show, at least,
mm-hmm.
at least on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But what got me, because I asked them, I was like, "Donde eres?" I've been working on my Duolingo, bro, so I can spit a little something.
Go ahead.
He was like, "Soy de Venezuela," and they talk so fast, but they had their children with them, and first of all, you have migrant families living together who don't even know each other. One.
Mm.
But seeing the face of those children, bro. Now you know what the kids get. We can talk about adults all we want to, bro. Right?
It dissolves everything political.
Bro, it just seeing those kids smiling, engaging other young people, even with a language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
It just did something to my heart, man.
Mm-hmm.
It did something to my heart, bro. And
rightly so.
Yeah, one of my guys said, he was like, that what you do to the least of them, Briscoe. That what you do to the least of them. It just gave me a different angle how we should treat strangers. Yeah. And got into a little spat online, because everybody's a Facebook, everybody keyboard gangsters. Everybody a keyboard gangster till you roll up on them, right?
Right.
And he's showing a video of this woman who's throwing bottles at cars going by, smashing windows, and it's in a foreign country. And so he makes the statement that, yeah, she's probably over here in America now doing the same thing. And I was just like, I said, hey, bruh, did you notice your last name? How you think you got here?
Mm.
And he goes, my family, I know how I got here. My family came here legally. I was like, so my family came here by force generations ago. What's your point?
Mm-hmm.
I said, stop spreading the propaganda of fear, making it look like all migrants that come here are illegal. Now, I'm not saying we're not dealing with some stuff with gangs and everything when they come across the border, but we've been dealing with our own street gangs, and ain't nobody made no fuss about that at all, because when it's blacks killing blacks, nobody seems to care. But now you got the Venezuelans over here allegedly committing all these heinous crimes, and now everybody's in an uproar. So it's like, what do you really care about? So, man, seeing those kids, though, bro, when they got a comic book in their hand, how he don't even know the language, but he flipping through the pages, and they super excited. They playing with other toys. They got slime in their hand. It was like seeing those migrant children. It's like, no, take migrant out of it, Tone. Seeing those children.
Yeah.
Just being children.
Mm-hmm.
It messed my head up, man. It gave me a different perspective. And it's not a far perspective because, I worked at Noble 13 and a half years, bro. We had undocumented students.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you have undocumented students.
Have some now.
I just did a photo gig for the school district. Is it 144? Markham?
Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah, I just did
We're
a photo.
157. That sounds about right.
Yeah, but bro, it's like things that we're not seeing in our communities. When I'm out there doing this photography, I'm seeing Latino families, I'm seeing white families, I'm seeing black families, and you like, wait a minute. I thought Negroes and white folks were not getting along at this level. When you look at these areas that are not real well affluent and not wealthy, bro, these folks out there, they know each other like family, bro.
That's fear mongering. Let me tell you this.
They know each other like family, Gary.
Yeah. Check this out. I hate to throw a little political seasoning on this, but for the sake of the context, it'll make sense.
Mm-hmm.
We hear from politicians and talking heads and people in that sphere talk about how bad relations are between whites and blacks and browns and whites and all this stuff. You hear people that are on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and ABC, CBS, all of these broadcasts, not all of them, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And they're saying that race relations are so bad in this country. This is one guy, this one black guy. I believe he's a professor and he's a guest. I'm not going to call his name. His name is not important right now for the purpose of this discussion. But he's on MSNBC or CNN a lot. And the vitriol with which he speaks against white people in general, it's just these blanket, outright racist statements that are rooted in a rage, and I don't know where it's coming from, but I can't. He's the brother that has he has the white hair.
You talking about Dr. West?
Not Cornel West. Not Cornel West. It's another guy. He wears, well, that doesn't narrow it down, but he's maybe a little portly, big white hair.
I don't think I've ever seen this guy, bro.
Yeah, if you watch CNN or MSNBC, anyway,
yeah,
some of these individuals are painting a picture as if relations are so bad in this country. But me, when I hear this, I don't see that. I work with white people. I come across white people. There's white people in my community. My next door neighbor is a good man from Venezuela. He helped me build my fence. We look out for each other. A package comes to my house that's his. I bring it over there and vice versa. This, that, and the other. Listen, when you distill it down to a person-to-person, human-to-human contact level, like when you in the street, when your car was stranded.
Yeah.
Those are the interactions that make the difference. So I don't see this virulent racism around every corner. These people want to make you think that there's racism around every corner. I don't see that.
I don't think it's around every corner, but I mean, you know, part of the reason I left my last job was because of it. Like, it was because of it. So it's like, I know it exists. You know what I'm saying? But I think
absolutely it exists.
On average, we know it exists, but I also think, like, you know, you will never hear me say that America is not a racist country. You will never hear me say that. I'll never make that statement because I just think that's irresponsible. But I think
it has a racist history. I don't think it's inherently racist right now. It has racist people in positions of power. I don't think
that makes it inherently racist right now. If they've got, you know, if your definition of it is right now, then it is that. But, you know, I think it's still a bigger conversation because at the end of the day, I think racism is just a cover for political power and control. And whatever can be used to pivot that's what's going to have the conversation. You know what I'm saying? I think politics and control has a way of exacerbating other things.
Of course.
You know, just to magnify. You know, I think you use it to its power and to its benefit. You know, the DNC was here last week.
Man, why you bring that up?
I mean, it's the DNC, bro. Like, you know, it's no different from bringing up the Republican National Convention. You know what I'm saying? You bring up both.
It's a little different because they got abortion trucks outside the convention. They want us to exterminate ourselves. That's why I wouldn't. That provokes a rise in me because they're telling us while they bring people in to replace us and while they want us to exterminate us, we're below the replacement rate. We're now at I think we're at like 1.8 or 1.9. You need 2.3 to replenish your race.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, don't get me wrong, bro. Like, you know, people who know me know I have no love for Planned Parenthood at all. I have no love for the founder of Planned Parenthood. I have no love for Planned Parenthood at all. So I want to make that clear to everybody. I also have no love for white supremacy. That is very representative in this Republican Party?
Democratic Party too. They just put black faces on it. They just put black faces on it.
Yeah, flawed system. And bro, first of all, I shouldn't say I'm reading. I'm listening to this. I got a friend of mine who's an historian. He lives in Scotland, and he recommended a book that I've been listening to on Audible, bruh.
What's the book?
I don't know if I want to bring it up, man.
Text it to me.
No.
Bro, you don't have. Okay.
It's called "The Kingdom, the Power, and the Glory." American
Evangelicals.
Huh?
That's a strong title.
Oh, I ain't finished. Like American Evangelicals in an Age of Extremism. Bro, I'm on chapter 5. I can't stop this book. I want to read an excerpt. I want to read an excerpt from Amazon. Quote, accessing the highest echelons of the American evangelical movement, Alberta, his name is Tim Alberta, the author. Alberta investigates the ways in which conservative Christians have pursued, exercised, and often abused power in the name of securing this earthly kingdom. He highlights the battles evangelicals are fighting and the weapons of their warfare to demonstrate the disconnect from Scripture. Contra the dictates of the New Testament, today's believers are struggling mightily against flesh and blood, eyes fixed on the here and now, desperate for a power that is frivolous and fleeing, lingering at the intersection of real cultural displacement and perceived religious persecution. Alberta portrays a rapidly secularizing America that has come to distrust the evangelical church and weaves together the present day narratives of individual pastors and their churches as they confront the twin challenges of lost status and diminishing standing. Sifting through the wreckage, pastors broken, congregations battered, believers losing their religion because of sex scandals and political schemes, Alberta asks if the American evangelical movement has ceased to glorify God. What is its purpose? Unquote.
That's deep.
What the deep is, this dude is digging into history, foundational history.
That sounds like a good read.
Bruh, he's digging into the Falwell family. He's digging into Brighton at what's the church in Brighton, Michigan? Cornerstone. He's going deep.
See, and you know what? Go ahead. No, you go.
Him being a Christian himself, confronting him, even having conversations with his father when his father was kind of doing rhetoric across the pulpit. He was like, "Hey, this ain't the gospel, Dad." And he was like, "No, you're wrong." But I'm enjoying it. But he talked about, this is when he talked about Christian folks. The day of his dad's funeral, somebody slipped him a note with a 4-page letter about how disappointed they were in him.
Wow.
Because of him speaking out against evangelicals lining up with Donald Trump. Evangelicals who have documented record of breaking protocol and scripture to make money to be seen in order to be, man, he's really getting granular into this. And it's not his first book, so I'll check out his works.
I gotta get this book.
If the American evangelical movement has ceased to glorify God, what is its purpose? And I think that's powerful.
Yeah, it already has ceased to glorify God, because in my reading, what has happened has been a co-opting of American evangelicalism by another group that was already there. It was always there. I mean, it was the Christian National. The Christian National and the American Evangelical have not always been the same thing. But in these last few years, especially with the rise of Donald Trump, the Christian Nationals, they've almost completely subsumed the leadership of what is viewed as the American evangelicals. The American evangelical pastors, they're lessening in power, and the Christian Nationals have subsumed what was the American evangelical, in the same way that progressives have subsumed the leadership of the Democratic Party, because the progressives Vice President Harris is a progressive.
Yep.
Joe Biden is not a progressive. He's more of you can draw a direct line to the Dixiecrats. Tim Walz is a progressive. Barack Obama was a progressive. Hillary Clinton, she's a self-avowed progressive. So the progressives, they have subsumed the Democratic Party, and the Christian nationals that only have God as a mascot. God is just a mascot. It's the country above God on the right. And just like with the left, it's the state, but God and the state cannot coexist. So the Christian nationals, they've taken over the evangelicals.
Yeah. Sister Demetrius says this is a good read too. Divided by Faith, Evangelical Religion and the Problem of Race in America. He talks about the same thing that the guy is talking. It's deep. It changed how I look at them and their views. Yeah, and you have to really look at it on both sides. I don't think you would find any Christian. I don't think you'd find any Christian who says they support abortion.
Absolutely not.
I don't think you'd find any Christian who believes that abortion is right. I don't think you'll find any. But most people are one-issue voters or two-issue voters. Like, that's a fact. Just like you had people who voted for Barack Obama because he was black.
Absolutely.
You had people who voted for Donald Trump just because he was white. And I don't have the data in front of me, but they talked about the white folks who showed up for the election when Donald Trump won. They were like, they hadn't seen numbers like that in years. But he woke up a voting demographic similar to the demographic that President Obama woke up. But
absolutely,
at the end of the day, you still have to recognize that the majority of America is still white, and no black person in a presidential position would get that if they did not have votes of the white demographic population. Those are just facts.
Oh, yes, it's numbers, man. I mean, it's numbers.
It's a numbers game, right? It's a numbers game.
It's
right?
numbers.
Yeah. And so I think about these things. I think about immigration. I talked to a buddy of mine. He don't care about nothing. All he cares about is gun rights. He was like, dude, don't talk to me about it. I believe in my gun rights. Illinois sucks. I'm never voting Democratic ever again. And I can't fault him because, I see the restrictions that have been put in place by Governor Pritzker, which I don't support.
Believe in my gun rights too.
The amount of restrictions. But I also say it's crazy that we don't want people telling us what to do with our guns, but we want government telling women what they can do with their bodies.
It depends on the we, but just let me add a little seasoning to that.
Please.
And I'm coming at this from mainly a Christian perspective, a biblical perspective. I shouldn't say a Christian perspective. I don't think it's so much we telling any woman what she can and cannot do with her body, when scientifically the baby's body is separate. The baby has his or her own blood type in some cases, which is not identical to the mother's. That baby has organs of his own. That baby's heart is beating on its own. This is a completely different human being. And the mother, thank God for it, the mother is just a carrier of this new human being, and that's God's design. So for us as Christians, and I'm not saying you, for us as Christians to latch on to this idea, or we can't tell a woman what to do with her own body. Well, it's not her body. This is just God's design for how we come into this world, and for us to co-sign the slaughter of innocent children. Now, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general, for us to co-sign the slaughter of innocent children.
Yeah, and if y'all didn't catch I've already made it clear who I'm supporting and why. So it's no secret. Right. I'm open like that. And I hear what you're saying, Brother Brumfield, but we are willing to vote for the people who are for it and so much more. The word is against it, T. I agree with you, Dave, but we military men, right? We ran straight into war with President Bush over a lie. I believe the Lord hated that evil just like he hates the evil of abortion. And so that's what I'm saying. Scripturally, we can pick and choose all day who's right and who's wrong on each side. We can do that all day. the problem with the evangelical movement is it likes to boil these things down to this issue and that issue.
Well, we should stop looking at it from an evangelical perspective and look at it from a biblical perspective.
And looking at it from a biblical
perspective, and we measure both parties.
Yeah.
We measure every program, every platform by the
Then we won't be voting. Then we won't vote.
And listen, I told you, I've said a lot off camera. I'm drifting more and more toward the position of the Amish and the Mennonites. And they say
Jehovah's Witnesses and Islam.
Yeah.
The Nation of Islam didn't vote for a long time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We will not vote because I'm not trying to make America a Christian nation. That's not my job. My job is to evangelize and share the gospel. Right? These issues that we are fighting are valid issues. I'm not saying they're not valid. But what I'm saying is the only thing I hear people put up, and no shade of disrespect to anybody else, is I'm not voting for Democrats because of this. And that's your right. I'm not voting for Republicans because of this. That's your right.
Your vote, your choice.
But when we get down to trying to make people feel guilty,
like that crosses the line.
Like the brother who told me, like, this dude judged my salvation.
That crosses
How do you judge somebody's salvation, bro? You out
based
of order.
on how they vote.
Right. So when I voted for Bush, you told me I was going to hell. And now that I was supporting Joe Biden, you said I'm going to hell. Like, you're judging someone's salvation? You don't even have that kind of power of authority, bro. And that's the problem with fanaticism. You know, and if abortion is your number one issue, hey, vote how you feel. If your concern is not the other things that are wrapped up in the conservative movement, if your concern is not having the civil rights bill that allowed Black people to vote, if that's not a concern of yours, then don't let it be a concern. But just don't think it won't roll back. If it's not renewed, I'm just saying, like, don't think if so, weigh what you want to weigh as your priority. I don't tell nobody how to vote. I don't like when a pastor tells somebody how to vote. I've heard Democratic pastors and Republican pastors tell people how to vote. Let people vote for what they want to vote for. You got people who are voting purely off emotion because Vice President Kamala Harris is a woman. It's going to happen. Right. There's going to be no way around it. Just like you got people who are going to vote for Donald Trump just because he's a white man who speaks his mind and who's dominant. They don't care about his moral code. They don't care about his moral values. They don't care about him paying off prostitutes. They don't care about him using campaign money. They don't care about how many people his university defrauded. They don't care about that stuff. That's cool. That's you. I'm saying these are the things that I care about. If I'm a one-issue voter, I'm not voting for any man who's disrespected veterans again and again and again and did it recently. I'm not doing it. If I'm a one-issue voter, you can't disrespect the folks you send to war. But I think that's the challenge that we have. And I think you're absolutely right, man. I think when we talk about policies, what's going to happen with this country with policies, with Vice President Kamala Harris's policies, with former President Donald Trump's policies, match those things up, line those
because she runs from interviews where she has to answer questions about policy. I know what you're saying. If
the debate's coming up, which he kind of alluded to on Twitter that he wasn't going to participate in, because he wants to be on Fox News.
He's going to be there.
Like, you've got who? Robert F. Kennedy, who's backing him up. I'm just saying, hey,
he's never met a camera he didn't like.
Why would he not, bro? He's made for the camera.
Right, he's been in the camera for
called Trump Card, right? You remember Trump Card on my first album? People thought I was dissing Donald Trump when I wrote Trump Card. I was like, first of all, that means you didn't listen to the song at all. And if you know what a Trump Card does, a Trump Card is an example of, yo, Gary, I got your books, boy. You ain't getting nothing over here. And all of a sudden you break out an ace, a joker, a king, and a jack. Like, boom. That Trump Card is to put people in place. And so when I wrote Trump Card, it was based on Hillary thought she had the election in the bag and she didn't.
Facts.
She said, except for the death of the mom or a woman who has been raped, a woman getting an abortion because of carelessness is wrong. It's not the baby's fault. I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100%. But I also want you, Brother Brumfield, to go and watch. It was a documentary on Channel 7. I can't remember if it was Diane Sawyer who did the documentary. Now, these were steep conservatives in Texas whose lives were on the line. In Texas, you cannot get an abortion for anything, even if the life of the mother, she has to reach a certain mortality rate before they consent to an abortion. At that point, that woman can die. I'm just going to let the data and the science speak for itself. So let's take off the shelf carelessness. There are Republicans out there who have said, even if the woman has been raped, it should not be allowed. If it's incest, it should not be allowed. And so these are all the things that have been shared and discussed. I agree with you, Brother Brumfield. When it comes to the life of my wife, it's unequivocal who I'm going to choose. Mm-hmm. They're going to take away your right to even do that. And it's already happening.
Who's the they?
Now, if they make crossing the state line to get an abortion a federal crime, I'm not talking about those who just having sex all loose and willy-nilly. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about them people.
Which is the majority of the reasons why abortions are sought, to be fair. That's the overwhelming majority of why abortions are sought.
But you're going to make everybody suffer for it, just like they do with guns, right? Just like they do with gun laws. All I'm saying is you have extremists out there who don't care of the reason. Who don't care of the reason. Like, we ain't even dealing with the legalities of what takes place with rape. You already heard that the dude, Brock Turner, he raped a woman while she was intoxicated. He raped her in the alley, and all he got was 6 months in prison. His daddy, who has a daughter, said, my son has suffered enough. That woman ain't never going to get over that.
Now, that's a travesty.
System. I don't want to get into all that, but I agree with your point, Brother Brumfield. You're not going to get an argument out of me on that, big bro. But I'm just saying there are cases where you really have to understand the magnitude of this. And I do agree. That's probably a small portion, Brother Dotson. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Most abortions are taking place because of pure irresponsibility and folks wanting the easy way out, which is detrimental, deadly, and harmful.
Yep.
But it's not going to stop them from doing what they're doing. Women were tearing their vaginas out in the 50s, in the 60s, doing homemade abortions after being raped. We ain't even dealing with the stuff that took place in the Catholic Church, and we're not going to deal with that on tonight anyway. So, but that's enough about that stuff. Let me see what my nephew had to say. Not to be combative, I'm at work, so I didn't hear you fully read the comment. What was OP saying? Abortion shouldn't be allowed because it'll do damage to mothers. No, I don't think he said that, Jay. I think he was saying abortion should be allowed in cases that the mother's life is in jeopardy. I think that's what he was saying. If I'm catching you right, on there.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, you did hear Trump say that, Brother Brumfield. Well, I thought I heard him say that he doesn't think that government. He believes the state should have the say, but you still got to watch the shroud. He's put conservative judges in place, and he's put Supreme Court judges in place that will surely. So he can get away with that now and say that because he's appointed the conservative federal judges.
But within the state, the elastic clause of the Constitution does not allow a federal judge to intervene into the sovereignty of a state. Like 3 years ago, in certain matters, like three or 4 years ago, when New York State, they codified a law that made abortion legal throughout the pregnancy. And that was a state law. And it was in response to a then Trump administration measure to prevent abortions from being carried out past a certain number of weeks. Now, that was on the federal level. The state of New York, Virginia followed suit, Illinois followed suit, California followed suit, and I do believe Arizona or New Mexico followed suit. So the Constitution does allow states to, on the basis of state sovereignty, to push back against federal overreach.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how these things play out, no matter who is elected. And I also believe that, we've had this conversation before, Gary. Like, personally, I don't care about presidential elections. I care about local elections. I care about senators. I care about congressmen. I care about aldermen. I care about mayors. I care about governors. Because at the end of the day, if you've got those numbers in your favor, the president, he going to ride with whatever he has to ride with, or whatever she has to ride with.
And for us, I mean, really, especially for the Black community, the difference of president is just changing the face of the person sitting in the seat.
Yeah,
that's on a broad level, and it really does not have. I'm not going to say it doesn't have any effect, but the effects are more substantial on the lower level, state, county, city, ward. Those are the decisions and the positions that really have an impact on our lives.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. Chicago is a fine example. Eddie says the eugenics, euthanasia,
miscegenation.
Thank you, brother. You always got to step in there, man. Abusive medical procedures and research of minorities ignored by. Oh, bro, that's a whole nother one. That's a whole other one.
Not ignored by law, not ignored, empowered by the law. Because the eugenic system in this country, its primary purpose was the extermination and mass sterilization, mainly of Black people in this country and the other individuals that were deemed not fit to live by Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood, who is the patron saint of the Democratic Party and the Ku Klux Klan. The Ku Klux Klan had her to speak at rallies. The National German Socialist Workers' Party of Germany, the Nazis, in other words, they patterned their entire eugenics program after what Margaret Sanger instituted in the United States of America. So they didn't ignore it.
Yeah.
They didn't ignore it. It was empowered by law in every institution of that time, and it's still empowered.
Yeah. Jay, I'm gonna lay out my case next week, Jay. Brother Dotson has already shared where he is, and I think it's people are really being torn apart. My buddy said his aunt cut him off, and I think I know why she cut him off. I can't say for sure, but I'm gonna say this: I don't have an issue with any person who doesn't like Kamala Harris. What I don't like is the disrespect towards Kamala Harris. You cannot like her, but disrespecting her name. I just think it's just insulting, and I don't think there's a cause or a purpose for that. And that's just
I agree.
I agree. People have gotten on me for saying, why do I call him former President Trump? Because he's a former president.
He is a former president.
Why would I not call him that? And whether I like him or not is irrelevant. He's a former president. I respect the office. I'm a military man. I'm partially still brainwashed, so that just is what it is. I can't do nothing about that.
And for the military, as commander-in-chief, he made no deployments of servicemen in any foreign conflicts, which is big for former soldiers.
It's big for former soldiers, but when you like dictators, why would you go up against them when you admire them? But that's a whole nother story. I disagree. I taught a lesson on going through all the presidents, covering the failures and policies of presidents from Washington through Biden. We can't say they don't affect us or impact us.
I don't think we're saying that. The local, we're just saying, and we could be educated some more, but we just think that the local elections have more of an impact on our day-to-day lives than the presidential elections.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And Eddie, we would love to have you on. I know you're on sabbatical right now, Eddie. So whenever you feel like you're able to come back and ready, I know you're working on a second book already. So whenever you're ready to come back, we'd love to have you on, because you're my Black historian, bro. You and Gary and my wife, like y'all the truth. Well, we know that the Dems are not for Blacks and hasn't done anything for Blacks. Why are we trying to keep them?
Question of the night.
It's the question of the night, but I still think that's propaganda and rhetoric. It's about people.
It's true,
bro.
In the Black community.
So let me say
no matter who.
let me say, you say blue no matter who. Yeah, well, you vote red and end up dead. You vote red and end up dead. So hey, if you want to vote for the squad who wants qualified immunity for police officers, by all means, go for it. Just do it. When we talk about the Democratic Party and what they have done for Black people, like, you got to get really granular, right? Because Republicans can openly do things for white people in advance. Check the business records. First of all, dig deep. BlackRock is sitting on both sides of the table. And if you don't know who BlackRock is, just Google.
Hold up. That's not fair, because BlackRock is above parties. They're so powerful. They're above this stuff we're talking about.
But they sit on both sides.
I agree.
That's why
I say they're above. Yeah.
When we talk about what the Democratic Party has done for Black people, and we say that they have done nothing, how has your life changed with Democrats in place? For the better or for the worse?
I think the better question is identifying what have they done.
Because talk about identifying what they've done. So let's lay out some things, right?
Because one more thing. You remember we had the town hall, and we talked about at the last show the disconnect that Gen Z and millennials are having with even Gen X, but especially the boomer generation. They're pushing back and they're saying, wait a minute, I'm not just falling in line and voting Democrat because you voted Democrat. Yeah. I didn't have the same experiences that you had. I don't have your history.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to come to me with something else other than I'll just use something that Joe Biden said. They're going to put y'all back in chains, which is an absolute ridiculous statement to make. So that generation, they're saying, well, wait a minute. What are you going to do for me? You've been in charge in Illinois. I'll just use Illinois for generations. You've been in charge of Chicago for generations. You've been in charge of Cook County for generations.
Pause. Right.
We had a pause, Bruce Rauner.
Let's cut presidents out. Take presidents.
I'm talking governor.
Let's talk local government.
Last Republican mayor of Chicago was who? You can't even name him.
I can't even name him. Bro.
I know you can't.
So let's just talk Chicago and Democrats, because we focused on Washington.
Yeah, get them out of there.
So you're gonna get me on the same page you on. We start talking about what the Democratic Party has done for Black folks in Illinois. I'm gonna be on the same page as you. Let's just call that what it is. See, we focused on Washington. Washington is not the problem. The problem is local politics. The problem is local politics. Folks are not showing up to vote, and folks don't care. And when they do, they keep voting the same. But there's one party that you continue to have hope with, and there's one party that you continue not to have a chance with. Those are the facts. So when we lay out the failures of the Biden administration, immigration is number one, right or wrong? Well,
that's right.
I shouldn't say number one.
That's 1,000% right.
Right? Immigration is one, right? The border policies and immigration has been horrific. These things we already know, right? They have not been able to get anything done positively with the Civil Rights Voting Act, right? But there's a reason they can't get things done with that. And we all know whoever controls, was it the House, Gary?
Well, a bill starts in the House.
Right.
The Senate is really important because the Senate, they will determine whether or not that bill will go to the president's desk. So the House can pass, they can write whatever bill they want. By the time it goes to the Senate, if the party has the votes, or if enough people, I shouldn't say the party, if enough people are with it, then it will pass out of the Senate and go to the president's desk for either for him to sign or veto.
Yeah. Come on, bro, Phil. You smarter than that, dog. You smarter than that.
What was that? What was that comment?
He's just saying a qualified immunity for police is not no accountability, but in accidental deaths due to innocent people in the line of duty. Yeah, don't think that's gonna be the truth, bro. That may be a shadow, but let's get back to some stuff I've researched on the failures of the Biden administration. Right now, the handling of the withdrawal from Afghanistan was not great. It was disastrous. But also,
and now the Taliban is retaking Afghanistan.
Oh, bro, the Taliban is doing some stuff over there. You see how the women have to dress now?
They having parades with American tanks and weapons. It's not good, man.
I got you. But guess whose fault that is? First of all,
it's Joe Biden's.
It's Joe Biden's now. But Trump didn't do anything about it. And what president kicked all of it off? That's what I'm saying, man. It's like
George Bush did.
Oh, yeah, he's still cleaning up live. And I'm not making an excuse because once you sit in the seat, you have to own it.
That's right. The buck stops there.
Right? Inflation and the economy has been partially shot. People believe the market is stabilizing right now. Personally, I don't think the market is stabilizing.
It ain't stabilizing because when I go to the store, with me and my wife went to the store yesterday after church, it ain't stabilizing, bro.
Yeah, and get this though. So we already know what companies did after the pandemic. What did they do? Their prices went up through the roof. Mm-hmm. How can you control that? So these folks who lost all that money during the pandemic, mind you, a lot of them did not lose money because a lot of these companies got PPP loans, but they still chose to jack up the prices. And
part of that though, when people were able to begin to fully engage in the economy, because the basic law of economics, supply and demand, when people were finally able to emerge from their homes and get back into some sort of normalcy, the demand caused prices to skyrocket. So it's a complicated web of factors. I know I was better off under Trump.
I was better off under Jesus. No president has made me better off. I'm just going to call it what it is. We like to play these games.
I think that's a legitimate question, though, Tone, because you were talking about
how was your life different under Donald Trump outside of grocery prices? How was your life different? And that's major. Presidents don't control gas prices at all. The only thing a United States president, and you learn this in Economy 101, the only thing a United States president can do when it comes to gas prices is what, Gary? What's the only thing he can do to bring the prices down?
To bring the prices down?
Yes.
Well, to my knowledge, educate me, but sure, of course, right? Of course, the domestic oil reserve.
As far as I know, now why the Biden administration has not done that, I have no freaking idea. But so we can go talk about border policies, nightmare. Withdrawal from Afghanistan, 2021, nightmare. Right? Got some flack on the COVID vaccine, which, hey, you got to own that. But you got to also own the previous president who said that the thing wasn't real. Mm-hmm. Who said it wasn't real. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be real.
A lot of other people were saying that too. But you know what, too?
Yeah, they were, but a whole lot of people died.
Right.
But let's talk about some things.
Yeah.
Right? He's got, and I know people don't agree with this, because what we haven't heard is the people on the conservative side who've had their loans forgiven but are still complaining about the loan justification. I got a buddy who is caring for a sick child who's been sick since birth in their teens right now. And without the Affordable Health Care Act, his child would probably be dead. Them black folk. My baby who was Journey's age, who should be in college with Journey right now. If my folks didn't have health care backed up by the Affordable Health Care Act, my baby wouldn't have lived as long as she did.
Praise God.
Now
for
you
that.
can say, I mean, so I'm saying there are some wins,
and these black folks over here in this house, we couldn't afford it. That's when all 5 of my children were home. We couldn't afford it. So with the Affordable Care Act, it's some, I'm not going to call them hits and misses. It worked for some.
You're right. No, I think you're right with the first statement, bro. It was hits and it was misses. But my man said he gave 4 years. We're going to get rid of it. And it turns out he didn't get rid of it. Actually tried to enhance it in some ways. If you notice, it stopped being called Obamacare, and all they call it now is the Affordable Care Act. That's for a reason, because when it had a negative connotation, it was Obamacare. But when it started being beneficial, now I worked in healthcare. So I take the word of the people I worked in healthcare with who were executives. They believed Obamacare was a mistake. I get it. I understand it. But now that it's been benefiting a certain population and demographic, now it's the Affordable Health Care Act. And so we see that once Barack left office and once Trump came into office, it began to take on a different shadow and a different name. You know what I'm saying? He said all our basic necessities were affordable during his administration. What are they now? T. Yeah, Dave, all those things are valid. I'm not going to even contest it. I made some moves in my 401k. I changed a whole lot to produce a whole lot of cash during that time. Part of that reason is corporate made big bucks. If we want to start getting petty with our faith, if we want to start getting petty in our choices and decisions, do you know how your money is being invested? How much of your money is in foreign organizations? How much of your money is actually invested in the prison system? So this is what I'm saying. When you want to start picking and choosing and get real granular about your salvation and you're saved and I'm a Holy Ghost roller and I'm a Jesus freak and I'm voting for the Republicans because they don't do this, I want you to break down every point of your investments and I want you to see where all that money is rolling back to. Because if your money is invested in the prison industrial complex, then you're part of the problem. If your money is somehow tied to, listen to me, if your money is somehow tied to a back door to Planned Parenthood, but you making money off of it, then you're part of the problem. So all I'm saying is, if you're going to get granular with your faith, I want you to get real granular. I want you to go and look at all your stock investments. I want you to look at all your 401k investments. I want you to look at all your pension plans, and I want you to track down every dollar that they're attached to. Then come back and make your argument, bro. That's what I'm talking about.
Right, I hear you. But to be fair, the prison industrial complex, Planned Parenthood, both of which we oppose vehemently. To be fair, the overwhelming majority of the money in a 401k, very little is going to be going to the prison industrial complex. Very little is going to be going to the Planned Parenthood. You got people that are investing in commodities. You got people that are investing in tech stocks. You got people that are investing in futures. You got people that are investing in gold, silver. Just to be fair, to be fair.
Gold, silver, blue chips. I get it. I understand it. Right? If we got investments in music companies, it depends on what that blue chip is tied to. You can have a blue chip. You can have some Vanguard, GUD price and development. All I'm saying is at the end of the day, if you want to get really granular, there's only one radio station that I know did ethical research, and that's Moody Bible Institute, and not them, but the host that they had on. They would do ethical research because they wanted to invest ethically. So they built a whole investment. I can't think of the name of the team. Go on Moody, do some research, find it for yourself. All I'm saying is, if you want to ride this, this Democrat, the problem, this the big problem for me, Gary. And we didn't miss talking about the Lord's Prayer 2 weeks in a row. Lord, forgive me, Jesus.
Oh man, it's 8:06.
It's 8:06, bro. Look, I love all the questions. Because I think we need them. I think we need to have the dialogue.
We don't run from open debate.
So, Dave, you can call it a pandemic, but bro, I know where you're getting this stuff from. All of that is straight Fox News, former Rush. All that stuff is propaganda, bro.
I disagree.
Dude, how many brothers did we lose? You think I'm gonna call this call it a pandemic? Call it what you want. We lost brothers and sisters
I'm not calling it a pandemic. I'm not calling it that. But I do believe, based on my understanding and my understanding of history, governments always will use any crisis to impose on our freedoms. And that's in America, that's in the UK, that's in Russia, that's in Germany, that's in Zimbabwe, that's in New Zealand, that's anywhere. So any emergency, they will always take advantage of to impose on our freedoms. And for all the people that did not get vaccinated, like myself, I did look at them sideways with the degree to which they were just saying, just don't ask questions, just go get it. Don't think. Whenever you start telling me, don't think. Whenever you start telling me, be afraid, it's another variant and it's right behind you and it's going to get you. Whoa, you want me to make a decision out of fear? You want me to make a decision without thinking about it? You want me to make a decision without even taking into consideration what this medication is going to do to me?
Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. Red flag.
Yeah.
Red flag.
And thank you, Eddie. And and Dave, hey, you not voting for the party, you voting for the person that's best for you. And if you believe Donald Trump is best for you, then let it be best for you.
Absolutely.
I don't vote from an individual standpoint. I look at my people. I look at history. I look at these decisions. I factor all these things in because it's bigger than me. But at the end of the day, every knee gonna bow and every tongue gonna confess before the Lord. Right? And if I gotta stand before him and answer him, son, well, ain't gonna be no asking why you vote this way. He already know why I voted that way. So when I stand before him, this the judgment seat of Christ. This ain't no debate about what I did right.
You give it an account. Ain't no asking. You give it an account.
It's giving an account, bro. But at the end of the day, yeah, if you voting for a person, I could throw 1,000 reasons out why I don't support this dude, why I don't support Trump. I could throw 500 reasons out why I don't want to support Kamala Harris. I've done it for every president. I've done it for all of them. I was called. I'm not going to tell you what I was called because when it was time to vote for Bill Clinton and I didn't. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what family members called me. It was you. I don't even want to repeat the words. They still embedded in my ear. You know what I'm saying?
The first black president.
Like I don't even want to
smoke weed and play a saxophone on Arsenio. But he the first black president. Man, get out of here with that. Not you, but it was a lot of people saying that.
Right. But I never vote based on me alone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have not fully gone through. I've read every summary for Project 25 that starts out in the Project 25. I have not read all of Project 25. I've listened to Congress, asked questions to the people who wrote Project 25. And I'm going to tell you, these folks do not have love for our people. I'm just going to call it what it is. These cats laughed. They laughed in the faces of Congress when they were being asked questions about it. Like, yeah, what's the problem? These guys are highly arrogant and they're highly intelligent at the same time. Period. See, I almost was one of them. It's been proven to have been planned. I was in the hospital breathing machine for 7 days before my wife and pastor told me to tell them if they were just going to observe me and send me home and give me some hydrochlorine. They said that don't work, and they gave it to me, and by the grace of God, I live. So I know what the deal is. I was in it. Absolutely. But, people calling it a pandemic, again, I know where the language comes from. Rizza Islam is one of the biggest proponents of, I don't know if you know who Rizza Islam is, Gary. Yeah, you like Rizza Islam. Yeah, he called.
Well, I know who he is. I'm not a big fan of his, but I know who he is. I listen to him sometimes for
I'm a fan of
his points of view.
I'm a fan of Rizza. I'm a fan. I shouldn't have said that on the show because they made banned.
That's cool.
But at the end of the day, I think this, man. We're trying to turn America into a Christian nation.
It's not going to happen.
It was never designed to be a Christian nation. Our job, our role, and our responsibility is to share the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not doing that, that's the reason we have so many abortions. If we're not evangelizing and encouraging people to give their life over to the Lord so we can have those conversations when they do get scared, when they get pregnant and they don't want to have this child, they don't know what to do. If we're not there in that community with them, these are the reasons. Because they do have an out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You only see Planned Parenthood in our communities. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear about, Planned Parenthood does more than just abortions. Yeah, I know a lot of what Planned Parenthood does, but at the end of the day,
the purpose of their existence is abortions.
Right?
That's their purpose, their number one purpose.
Period. But let's make no mistake. The same man who incited an insurrection that led to the suicide of 4 Capitol Police officers, we talk about Back to Blue. They were so distraught and so dismayed that they took their own lives. This man incited one of the most heinous acts, not the most heinous acts on American soil. Everybody know what I think the most heinous act on American soil is. It's a couple of things. Trail of Tears is one of them. But this is the guy we want to put back in office. This is the same guy who said he's going to free all of those who breached the Capitol, who got arrested. This includes the leader of the Proud Boys. So all I'm saying is, whether you choose this way, whether you choose that way, we're going to have a lot to contend with.
Absolutely.
And believe me, whoever gets in office, this is going to be generational.
Absolutely.
It's going to have a generational impact.
Without a doubt.
Journey, I'm thinking about Amari. I'm thinking about all of the future of our kids.
So without a doubt, this is going to be the most important election of our lifetime.
Absolutely. When I hear someone say that they read Project 2025 and they had no problem with it, when I hear a black person say that, I draw concerns. Oh, I don't care about DEI. DEI benefit white women. They don't benefit black women at all. If that's a true statement of belief from a black woman, I can't change her opinion. But I'm telling you, I know what it's like to be a black man, working your behind off for 13 and a half years. Pouring in everything that you have, giving everything that you've got. And somebody who's less qualified gets the position over you. I know what it's like to sit in those meetings when they can't even look you in the face and tell you a good reason why they didn't choose you over this person. I know what that feels like, bro. And I'm not the only black man who feels that way. But I also know what it's like to go to your own people sitting in corporate positions and tell you, we can't take a chance on you. Wow, thanks, because the white dude did. How do you think that makes me feel, bro?
Well, you know, this is yet another experience that I can't empathize with. I've never faced that type of rejection where someone, you know, was chosen because, you know, they were white or they were this or they were female or whatever. I firmly believe in someone being hired based on their qualifications and their own merit. I believe in people being fired because they did not meet the qualifications or the expectations of the organization.
I've had to do it.
Right. So I won't say that. I'll just say I don't have that experience. Yeah. And I've clawed and fought and did everything that I knew to do to become what some people would say is a really, really good teacher. Done all the dirty work over the years, and I believe people should be hired based on their own merit. So in a way, I do kind of push back against DEI a little bit, because I don't want people in key positions because of their identity or who they love or who they don't love or where they're from. I want people in there because they have skill. I want people in there because they're competent. And that's not a veiled, I'm not saying this to you, but I'm saying this to everybody. It's not a veiled volley against Vice President Harris. This is not this. It's not that. I think at the end of the day, all of us want the people in positions of power there because they are able to execute the duties that the position demands.
I agree. I mean, well, Trump gave to her campaign some time ago, so
I didn't know that.
Yes. He gave to a lot of campaigns. He gave to the Clintons. I put one post up this week. I said, you know, we're falling out. We're having arguments. These cats got their kids in the same schools. They go to the same elite schools. They pick them up and say, "Hey, how you doing? We doing dinner tomorrow night?" Absolutely. Don't forget to bring the grandbaby. Like, these cats is chilling.
Two arms of the same monster.
They play softball every year together.
They had a different class of people, bro. They had a different class.
They're in a different class. They don't even have the same. They can talk all this stuff. They're not on Social Security, bro. Their United States pension plan is completely different from the average citizen. You want to
check it out?
Social Security?
Yeah.
Security? Put them on Social Security. It'll get.
Here's how you know somebody's in a different class. Everybody, this is how you know.
They said they are related too.
Yeah, that one girl, she did that project and found that every U.S. president except for one was related. George Bush, she did the project. She was related to Vlad the Impaler of Romania or Transylvania.
Bro, you
a blood relative. And all of them link back to King John of England. All of them. Obama included. The only one that was not related was President Jim Carter.
Don't say that because people don't know that.
But my point, here's how you know somebody's in a different class from you.
Yeah.
When they can vote themselves a raise and you can't stop them and you voted for them. That's
Thanks,
how you know.
Eddie, for tuning around. We ran a little late tonight. I'm gonna have to ask the Lord to forgive me because we're supposed to be talking about the high priestly prayer.
We got to next week. We have to.
Got to next week. I did broke protocol again, but I do want to say this: you can't study the Bible enough.
No, we haven't scratched the surface, bro.
But my experience with Jesus, man. I say Yeshua as well because you know me. I try to as I study some of the Old Testament things, Gary, and we've been talking about this for years, having a deeper and better understanding of Old Testament law, of Old Testament. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite, y'all. Let's not get it twisted.
Right.
But I'm
neither one of us
studying the foundations of before Christianity became Christianity. What were those things before that, and just getting some Judaic understanding of the Old Testament, and I'll continue on that journey as well. But I thank you all for a lively convert.
To put it mildly,
the front field for what have Democrats done for Black people? Well, I thought you been listening to Mays on WVON when he was on there.
They ain't do nothing for me,
Black people. But I thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and hey, may the peace of God, which passes all understanding, guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Cousin Fred, I'm glad you are feeling better. I'm glad you're out of the hospital. Nephew, love you, man. Thanks for tuning in. And hey, well, you got my number, Brunfield. Whenever you want to talk, baby, you know how to hit me. Eddie, I appreciate you. Let me know when you are done with your sabbatical. I know you're working on another book. We'd love to have you on sometime in September if you're available. And yeah, man, thank you for the discussion. Everybody for participating. Sister Demetrius, Nicole, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for being live.
And shout out to Brother Brumfield. Good to see you, bro.
Shout out to
even if it was just your avatar.
Mike Wiley, love you, man. Love you too. All right, family, we getting out of here. Y'all be well. Catch y'all next week. Welcome to Message Monday. Christian men, Christian walk, Christian talk with your hosts, Tony Briscoe and Gary Dotson. We discuss faith, marriage, family, parenting, politics, and mental health, world news, and most of all, faith again. Let's go. Welcome to Message Monday.